Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so we talked about what is STEM. We talked about why STEM is even important. So now you have access to my channel, which I have over 100 activities for you to use with your child, right? So after you've done the activity, or maybe before you even get into the activity, you kind of want to know how to deepen that learning and not just be about the activity, right? So STEM is all around us. Every single day, we are presented with the STEM concepts, STEM opportunities, STEM examples, right? From the time you wake up in the morning, you are in your face, there are STEM, right? The alarm clock, if you're like me, the cell phone alarm clock, understanding how that is even constructed, how it is connected to maybe space, STEM learning. So how do we do this with our kids, right? For using everyday examples and STEM learning, you have to be intentional. It's very easy to just open your eyes and look around you and say, oh, the computer is STEM, the grass is STEM, the television is STEM, that painting is STEM, the water is STEM. You have to be very intentional because it can become overwhelming, especially with our young elementary kids. Okay, so what I like to do is start with a book. I figure out the activity of the week. I go to my local library and I get the book that relates to the subject. It doesn't have to necessarily be a kid book. At times I have gotten a adult level book and read an excerpt out of that book to my child, and I made sure I explained what is it even talking about. So you don't have to limit um, your child's learning to the level that they are, because remember, we are fostering, facilitating learning. So sometimes you have to take it up a level to help them think deeply. Okay, so you figure out what you want to do, right? So let's just take the very common um, build your own, or yes, build your own garden. All right. That's a great example. Springtime is approaching and you want to get into STEM. So I have an activity out on my website, on my YouTube channel, that you can use. Is a build a garden, a windowsill garden. Okay. Using materials that you get from the Dollar Tree, the dollar store, from your kitchen, and your dirt outside. Don't let don't let this hold you back. Okay. So I create this, I have this activity out there. I said, as a parent, that looks like that would be an interesting activity. It's very timely. Spring is approaching. I'm going to get into gardening myself. Let me bring my child along and let's learn some STEM. So before I show my child the garden, what I would do is I would go to the local library. This is for our elementary kids. And I'll pick up a book on gardening. Okay. I will also go on YouTube and find a video that relates to photosynthesis, how the sun, the green leaves and the green grass, how they use the energy from the sun to feed itself. What is the purpose of water? Find YouTubes that talk about those concepts at your child's level, right? Read the book to the child. Watch the video on another day. Then go to the store or shop around the house for materials that make sense on how to create a garden. Do not watch the activity initially because you want your child to think, because they've seen the video on photosynthesis, and they've also read the book. So they kind of got an idea of plants and flowers, right? And now you're going to start teaching them of kind of the infancy stage of a plant, which is the seed, how it goes from a seed to a plant itself, fruits or vegetables, right? So you're going to shop around and say, well, we need something to mimic the ground. So maybe we get a plate, a cup. Now, What do plants need? Well, they need dirt, right? Okay, let's go get some dirt. We put that in our ground, which is our cup or our plate, right? And then we say, well, what is the plant? What is the vegetable? What is the fruit? Then you need to go to the store, maybe Walmart or not necessarily Walmart, the Dollar Tree, the dollar store, or anywhere, the home and garden store, or even better, go into your pantry and get a dried bean. That's something that I would do. Get a dried bean. Put that, let the child put that into their ground. That's it on a plate or a cup. Put that in the ground. All right. So what do plants need to grow? The child's probably going to remember that it needs sun and water to actually even grow. So let your child figure out, well, what is our sun source? They're probably going to say the actual sun. So I'm going to say, well, we got to kind of keep an eye out on our plant. So we got to put it on the inside of the house so we can look at it and observe, right? So the window allows for sun to come into the home. So let's put our ground with our seed in the windowsill. Then the seed needs water, right? So we need to water it. Well, how often do we water it? How often do you need to drink water? Every day? So maybe we should give it a little bit of water every single day, right? So that is how I would approach STEM in an everyday learning environment. It doesn't require that much time, that much effort, or that much money. Okay, especially with our younger babies. Okay, all you need to do is be very intentional about what you're gonna like. What's the goal? Like, what's the end? How to get there is up to the child. So we initiate it as parents, kind of asking our questions. They do all the work in the middle. We're helping guide them along the way. And we know kind of what the goal is, right? The kind of the goal is to create like a small garden. So that is what we do. That is STEM in the everyday setting. It's everything around us. For our older kids, let me give you another example. For our older kids, I love. I have a second grader. I love this activity. Get something that's old. An old keyboard, an old phone, something technology wise that you're not going to use anymore. You're just not going to use it. And give them the tools that they're going to need to take that item apart. It is really common to use a keyboard. So if you don't have a keyboard laying around, that's an old keyboard, you can go up to your local Goodwill. If you have access to kind of the trash yard, waste yard, they like to sit electronics over to the side. You can ask them, kind of find a keyboard. You'll most likely find a keyboard. And allow them to take apart that item. It's called, and if you Google it, you'll probably find things called breaker spaces. It's more geared towards older kids, but that's not saying that our younger babies can't do it. Also, you just, again, have to be very intentional. And also remember safety. Remember to always unplug the item, take out the battery, keep those batteries with you because kids are fast and they're curious. So you want to stay safe, maybe proper safety, personal protection gear, have the space for that, and be very intentional with that type of learning. So allow them to break it and then allow them to put it back together. Or break it and then create something new with it. Or break it and just see, just observe, just write down whatever's in there. You know, but be very, very intentional with exploring the world with your child when it comes to STEM learning. Do not overwhelm them, because if you look around, STEM is everywhere. Maybe just focus on one thing a week. That's what I recommend. One thing a week. And just let them sit with their thoughts. They're going to sit with their STEM learning. And don't worry about always having to be there. As long as you take the correct safety measures, you give them the right amount of space, just kind of get out of their way, right? Back up, get out of their way. Okay, kind of keep a hawk eye on them, but get out of their way. Let them sit with their learning. Okay, all right. So that is how you can incorporate STEM into your everyday life using everyday examples of why STEM is important and how we can teach our baby STEM. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.